First off, I want to thank the grace of heaven and the virtues of the masters, the mercy of the grand predecessors, transmitting masters, lecturers, and everyone here today for this opportunity to talk about Ksitigarbha Buddha. Well, today, the lunar 7/29. I mean, it's supposed to be 7:30, but since today is the last day of the month, the month can have 29 or 30 days. So it depends on the year. All right. Okay. All right. So this is just you see some images, the iconography of Ksitigarbha Buddha. Usually, yeah. I mean, this is usually seen depicted as kind of like this is wearing a monk's robe. Okay, monk garb, including this kind of like a hat or crown. He's holding this staff. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a bit. And he also holds this jewel, okay, his left hand, and the staff in the right hand. And so, there are many statues all over Asia, you could say, honoring Ksitigarbha Buddha, because, well, he is one of the I guess one of the most respected, I guess, or worshipped Buddhas or Bodhisattvas in East Asia. Okay? Second only to Guanyin Bodhisattva, right? All right. So his title in Chinese, anyways, it's either, well, the simple title is 地藏菩萨. Okay, so that's I guess a translation of the Sanskrit, which is Ksitigarbha, right? So Dizang means earth store, okay? So, or you could say earth treasure, earth matrix, earth wound, depending on how I want to translate that. And then Bodhisattva. So he is a Bodhisattva, although, I did say Buddha. So it's kind of like, he was a Bodhisattva, but he's really a Buddha now, okay? And so sometimes the title has 大愿地藏菩萨. Okay, so the great vow, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, because of his great vow, which we'll get to. Or he's also known as 地藏王菩萨. Okay, so yeah, you can say the king, 地藏王, no, it's like king Ksitigarbha, or king earth store, Bodhisattva. Okay. Yeah, and then, or 地藏古佛. 古佛 is well, literally ancient Buddha, but we'll just say Buddha. So a Bodhisattva, right? There are 52 levels of attainment or achievement for Bodhisattva, and he's already at the 52nd level. So, and then the next, if it goes beyond that, then it's a Buddha. So, but he actually has gone beyond, okay, based on what his achievements, right, over the many eons, the kalpas and eons, right. All right, so all right, so this staff that he, so the day of birth, right, is observed on the 30th day, or basically the last day of the 7th lunar month. Okay, so again, this is right now, today is the 29th day, but it is the last day, okay, of the month. Now, he is also one of the 4 Maha Bodhisattvas, or Maha Sattvas, great Bodhisattva, right, of Mahayana Buddhism. So those 4 are Samantabhadra, right, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, or Guanyin, and also Ksitigarbha. Okay, so these are very well revered bodhisattvas, because they've basically achieved Buddhahood, but I guess people still talk about them as bodhisattvas. Okay. Now, okay, so what he holds in his right hand is a staff, or a ring staff. It's called a kakara, and that's, you could say, the rings kind of, it's what, yeah, some monks they have that staff too, and the purpose is to kind of alert or warn off, animals, insects, whatever that are nearby, so that they don't get stepped on. Okay, and then also I guess some people, they say also that for Ksitigarbha, his staff is used to open up the gates of hell, right? So remember, this is, you can say, I don't know, it's not hell month, it's ghost month, according to well, in Taiwan anyways, they celebrate ghost month, the month of the 7th lunar month. And that's when the gates of hell are open, right? So supposedly he uses staff to open up the gates and then close it, right? Now, this left hand holds what's called a sintamani, which is, they call it a wish-fulfilling jewel, okay? And it's used to light up the darkness, of course, of hell, where this Buddha is. Now, one of the common mistake by some people is in thinking that Ksitigarbha is the monk Tang San San. Okay, now this is a famous Tripitaka master of the Tang Dynasty who made the perilous journey to India, right? And his story, was romanticized in the novel Journey to the West. Okay, the reason is because Ksitigarbha is often, depicted, as you see here, wearing the monk robe and the same 5-leaf crown that is that the monk supposedly wore. Okay. All right. Now, of course, so he is known for his great vows. Now, last time we talked about Ulambana, right? The All Souls Day, right? On the 15th day of the 7th lunar month. And the whole month is the ghost month. So it's no coincidence that people honor Ksitigarbha on the last day of the 7th lunar month, because he is the Buddha in the underworld. Okay. Also, when a person receives Tao and cultivates, right, 7 generations of ancestors in the underworld each get a white lotus, and they listen to Ksitigarbha Buddha instruct them with the Dharma, and will not have to suffer in the underworld. So the Buddha is there to instruct, to teach, to guide, to hopefully enlighten those beings in hell, right, who are suffering in hell. Now, some people also mistake Ksitigarbha to be Lord Yama of the underworld, right? Because there's this Lord Yama. He's in the underworld. He's the one. He's one of, you could say he's an administrator down there. Okay, an official administrator in the hell realm, and he judges those who are sent there to be punished. But Ksitigarbha, he doesn't judge the souls, but in fact, he seeks to save them from their suffering by speaking the Dharma and trying to enlighten them. Right. So, his vow, right? So he vowed to take responsibility for instructing all beings in the 6 paths, the 6 paths of reincarnation from the time of Gautama Buddha's parinirvana, when Buddha returned to become a Buddha, returned to heaven, you could say, left this world, to the ascension of Maitreya Buddha. So between, right, we know that Maitreya Buddha is the next great Buddha to appear in this world, and so between the Gautama Buddha, Siddhartha, Sakyamuni Buddha's time, and when Maitreya returns or appears in this world, Ksitigarbha is responsible for basically trying to enlighten and change the ways of the beings that are in hell. Okay. Also, one of Ksitigarbha's incarnations is as Huinan, the 6th patriarch. Okay. So that we know. It's not, he's had actually, just like all bodhisattvas and Buddhas, they have countless incarnations, okay, say transformations in the world to help to try to enlighten people. Now, he vowed, maybe the famous vow is that he vowed not to achieve Buddhahood until all the hell worlds are empty, right? So that's the one that I think most people know him for. Okay. Yeah, so this is, this is actually from a scripture that, he said, if hell is not empty, I vow not to attain Buddhahood. I hold the Sintamani, that wish-fulfilling jewel, to illuminate the underworld. Now I pound the kakara, which is the main staff, to awaken and revive the conscience, right, in people. And I expound the Dharma of truth to ferry all to transcend life and death. Okay, so that's his purpose, that's his mission. Okay, to do that. And actually, obviously, it's actually the same mission. All bodhisattvas and Buddhas, they have the same mission. And actually, we also have this mission, maybe on a smaller scale, much smaller scale, in this life. And, okay, after receiving the Tao and cultivating and propagating the Tao. Okay. All right. Now, there's this sutra, the Ksitigarbha Sutra, or it's actually the Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva Purva Pranidhana Sutra. Okay, that's the long title, where it talks about Ksitigarbha. And in this sutra, okay, so it's got, I don't know, I think it's like 15 chapters or something like that. So Sakyamuni Buddha, he went up to this Triastrimsa heaven, which is this heaven. You can see this is a celestial heaven, right? So this is above our world, our physical world. There is a heaven, which is, I think, the abode of the 4 great kings or something. And then above that is this Triastrimsa heaven. So it's the second of, I think it's the second of the 6 heavens in the world or the realm of desire. Okay, so he's preaching the Dharma there on his mother's behalf. Right? His mother Maya, also the Buddha's mother, is actually went to see the heaven. He's already in Tusita heaven, and then so actually in this, all the beings from the higher heavens, the higher level heavens, can travel to the lower heavens, or lower realms, to they can also go there. Okay, so there were innumerable Buddhas and Bodhisattvas from infinite world systems, and countless spiritual beings from numerous other heavens were also present. In Buddhism, these world systems, right? It's like our world, this earth, this world, but our world includes like the spiritual. Okay, so we only see the physical, but there's also the spiritual, you can say, existence within our world. Okay, now our world is, so you have 1,000 of our worlds is considered a small, what they call a Shaoqian Sijie. Okay, so it's a small world system, and then 1,000 of those small world systems is a medium world system, and then 1,000 medium world system is a large, big world system. So they call that the Sanqian Daqian Sijie. So that's 1 billion worlds, right? And in Buddhism, they say that there is one Buddha for every one of these large world systems. So these 1 billion worlds, there's one Buddha. So you can imagine how many, who knows how many worlds, these great large world systems there are. So it's like pretty much countless numbers of worlds out there. Now, okay, so in the sutra, Manjusi asked Buddha about the Bodhisattva vows of Ksitigarbha. Now, Buddha said that Ksitigarbha's achievements, just during his Arhat and Pratyeka Buddha stages, could not be manifested in words. So here the Arhat and Pratyeka Buddha, right? That's another path of you can say cultivation and enlightenment, right? Although so a lot of, like, for example, a lot of the Buddha's disciples, right? They became arhats as soon as they heard the Dharma, and they became enlightened right away, and they're already at the arhat level. And then, from the Arhat, you can go up to the Pratyeka Buddha. But the Pratyeka Buddha is not the highest, right? That's not the same as these other Buddhas that we're talking about here. And so if you want to go higher than Pratyeka Buddha, you actually have to become a Bodhisattva. Okay, so, and then work your way up to become a Buddha. Okay, so now Buddha states that Ksitigarbha's vows and powers are inconceivable, and he goes on to talk about one of Ksitigarbha's lives as a son of a respected elder. So many countless eons ago, kalpas ago. So at the time, right, there was this Buddha known as Lion Power. Okay, so that was the Buddha at that time. The young man examined with awe the majestic appearance of the Buddha and asked what he had done and what vow he took as a bodhisattva to gain such a divine appearance. The Buddha told him, this is the Buddha Lion Power, right? If you want to gain such an appearance, you must do your utmost to relieve the sufferings of all sorrowed beings and continue this practice for a very long time. Okay, so then the Buddha counseled him on making a vow as follows. I now determine to relieve the suffering of beings in the 6 paths of suffering, or the 6 paths of reincarnation, skillfully leading them to salvation through innumerable kalpas before I myself attain Buddhahood. Okay, so that is the great vow. And so trying to guide and enlighten sentient beings for them to become, eventually become Buddhas before, becoming a Buddha himself. Now, okay, then Sakyamuni Buddha then continued with another story. He says, at a time inconceivably long ago, there was another Buddha known as Flower of Meditation and Enlightenment. Okay. He says there are 3 stages for giving respect to the Buddha, right? To the Buddha incarnate. So when the Buddha is present in person, right, as a human. Or the second is to the image of the Buddha. And the third is the declaration of faith and respect of the Buddha. Okay. So there was a Brahmin, which is, basically a religious or caste girl who in the past lives practiced some great benevolence, right? So besides getting respect and honor from people, she was also protected by the Devas. Right? The Devas are these celestial beings, okay, beings in the celestial heavens. Now, however, her mother refused to respect the truth of the Dharma and always spoke evil about and slandered basically the 3 treasures, like the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Right, the daughter, known as, she was known as Sacred Girl. I tried her utmost to persuade her mother to embrace the right understanding, right? So, the first of the noble eightfold path, noble eightfold paths, right? The first one is the right understanding, right? So being able to accept the 4 noble truths, right? But the mother did not listen. So when the mother died, she was reborn in the Avicii hell. The Avicii hell, that's the lowest level of hell, where the suffering is nonstop. Right? So Sacred Girl knew that her mother did not believe in causality and karma and committed many evils. So she knew that her mother must have been reborn in one of the evil paths of its punishment. Now this caused Sacred Girl to be, very anxious and worried about her mother. So she sold all her property and belongings and bought offerings for the Buddha. Every day she went to the temple and made impassioned prayers, seeking to know where her mother was reborn. Right? The Buddha, Flower of Meditation and Enlightenment, saw the filial devotion of Sacred Girl and was extraordinary. That was very extraordinary, and told her after paying homage, she should go home and meditate on the Buddha's name and await news of her mother's situation. So after meditating at home for a whole day, Sacred Girl's spirit or consciousness, was transported to the hell realm. Right? Suddenly she found herself on the shore of a vast sea. She saw many fierce creatures running back and forth in the boiling sea, and there were countless men and women struggling in the waves, attempting to escape from them. Then there were yaksas, evil demons, who forced the people into the clutches of the fierce creatures. Then a hell guardian came to meet her and asked why she was there. Sacred Girl asked, what is this place? The guardian said that she is in the hell realm, but that the only way she could be here is by the power of a Buddha or due to her own karma. He said that sentient beings here have committed very bad karma. If someone dies and does not do any good deeds to relieve their suffering, and no one does any good deeds to relieve their suffering during the 49 days after death, and the person does not have merits of their own, then that person falls into this hell. But they first must pass through the sea of suffering. There are 3 seas for the evil actions of the body, mouth, and mind, right? So we also, right, we always talk about, we have to be careful, those of, our actions, what we say, and what's in our mind. The guardian said there is a big hell with thousands of smaller hells within, each hell punishing the souls in a different way. Sacred Girl asked, where her mother had gone. The guardian told her that she can actually go home and not be worried because her mother ascended to heaven a few days earlier. It was because of Sacred Girl's filial piety in making offerings at the temple of Buddha flower of meditation and enlightenment for the purpose of saving her mother. So not long after that, Sacred Girl, she woke up as if, she was in a dream, although, she was relieved to hear that her mother was no longer suffering in hell. What she saw, right, the sight of the suffering sentient beings in hell aroused her compassion. So she vowed to use whatever means, skillful, expedient means to liberate all sentient suffering beings in the hell realms for eons to come. So the Sacred Girl is now Ksitigarbha, right? So, so that was, he in his mind, he still kind of have that mindset, that vow to save all those suffering beings. Because of this, Ksitigarbha is also mistaken to be Moggallana, right? Moggallana is also was one of Buddha's top 10 disciples and foremost in supernatural powers. Moggallana tried to save his mother, right, in the hell realm by using his supernatural powers. But of course, their experiences were quite different, and these stories happen, eons apart, right? Okay. Then in the next chapter, right? So Buddha then told. So after he told that story, then there were innumerable, countless divine transformations of Ksitigarbha from the countless worlds and hell realms that came together in Triastrimsa heaven, right? So Buddha led the bodhisattvas and beings released from the hell worlds to come here. Right, the multitudes of beings were instructed by Ksitigarbha in the countless worlds and hell realms. They would never regress from Buddha's wisdom. Because of Ksitigarbha's compassion and great vow, they all attained a certain level of spiritual development. So, due to Ksitigarbha's, tireless, endless efforts in teaching or guiding or instructing these beings in hell, actually. Some of them, I don't know how many of them, he says there are quite a few, from all the hell realms and the various world systems, right? Many of them became enlightened and, I guess, are in the celestial heavens, right? Now, so the Buddha said, he instructed the sentient beings in the world to renounce evil and do good deeds, using skillful means to save them from suffering. Some sentient beings are very receptive and believe and practice the Dharma as soon as they hear it. Okay, so there aren't that many people like that, but so some who have performed a very few good deeds become better after guiding them, right? But some are very dark and dull. Taking a long time before they will take refuge in the Dharma. So some with heavy karma do not even respect the 3 treasures, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha at all. So Buddha had incarnated and transformed into many different forms to deliver the beings from pain and suffering. For the beings that fall into the evil or suffer from karmic retribution, Buddha tells Ksitigarbha, right? To release from suffering all those beings in samsara until the coming of Maitreya, and to receive Buddha's blessing, right? Basically, releasing them, right? All those beings, the souls, to be, I guess, reborn into the Deva, the celestial heavens, or as humans to receive the Tao if the time was appropriate, like right now. So at that time, all of Ksitigarbha's divine transformations combined into a single form and said to Buddha tearfully, I have been instructed by Buddha for long eons. I have gained inconceivable divine power and wisdom. The boundless worlds are filled with my incarnations and transformations. In order to make them take refuge in and respect the three treasures, to escape from life and death forever and achieve nirvana's bliss, I have incarnated billions of bodies in every world. Everyone I have incarnated has taught hundreds, thousands, or billions of people. Even if their good deeds in the way of Dharma are as little as a hair, a drop, a grain of sand, or a speck of dust, I will gradually save them and make them gain great benefits. Please, world-honored ones, do not be concerned for the future beings with bad karma. Okay, so then the Buddha then praised Ksitigarbha and said, very good, very good. I am pleased that you have made such a vow. You will achieve your vow, and after all have been cultivated and instructed, you will attain the Bodhi, or become Buddha, basically. So, yeah, a Bodhisattva, so such as Ksitigarbha, because he has such great achievements. I mean, he also has great powers, and he can have many, right? You can say countless transformation bodies, right? The Manakaya. Those are transformation bodies. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they can transform not just into one, thing or person or being, right? Into, basically it could be infinite number of them. Okay, and all for the purpose of, the expedient or skillful means of trying to teach the sentient beings to, to be good, right? To embrace, to understand the truth, the Dharma, so that hopefully to awaken them, right, from their ignorance, so that they will no longer suffer, right? Because it's ignorance that is the initial cause of suffering. Okay, and then the next chapter, so Buddha's mother Maya asks Ksitigarbha about the retributions that beings in the worlds receive for their sins. Ksitigarbha describes the Avicii or endless hell in general, right? So these are the sins for which people end up in Avicii hell for an indefinite period of time. It says, if they're not filial, or a person does not respect their parents or kills or hurts their parents, right? Then they go to this Avicii hell, which is the lowest level of hell, where the punishment, I guess, is endless. Okay, or those who hurt or injure Buddha, right, or slander the three treasures, or disrespects the sutras. Those who damage or steal from the temple, right, or they cause a monk or nun to disobey a cultivator to disobey the rules. They perform sexual acts in the temple, or they kill people. Okay, so these are like very grave, the serious sins, you can say, and so they, people commit these serious sins will end up in the lowest hell, or they pretend to be a monk or nun. They say on the surface, maybe they say, oh yeah, I'm a cultivator, but they fail to keep the rules of the Buddha in the heart, right? They waste resources in the temple, they cheat followers of the Buddha, or goes against the disciplines, right? And then finally, those who steal money, food, clothing, or take anything from the temple without permission. Okay, so these are, some things we might think, well, it doesn't seem that serious, but yeah, from this point of view, from the Dharma, these are very serious. These are the worst crimes. Okay, and they will be punished, severely in the Avicii hell. Right. So Ksitigarbha then explains what it means for a Vichye hell to be endless, right? So sometimes it's known as the endless hell. There are 18 big hells and hundreds of and thousands of smaller hells within. One of these hells is the Vichye hell. The occupants suffer from all kinds of torture and pain nonstop, right? Whether there is just one or many in the hell is always full. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so this is obviously beyond our concept of space and time. But no matter what one's status was in the world, right, everyone suffers the same. Right? Even when they pass out or die, right? Like while they are being tortured, basically, then they are instantly reborn and continue suffering until their karmic retribution has come to an end, right? Even when that particular hell ends. So these hells also, they aren't there forever. Okay, so the hell, the hell might close or whatever, and then they're moved to the next hell to continue their punishment until they have basically fully suffered for their sins. Okay. Okay. Now, okay, so here we're going to talk about the scripture, okay, through a channeling by Ksitigarbha Buddha. This was after the 2004 Southeast Asia tsunami, right? That I think it was December 24th. That was the tsunami. This is probably, I think, a few months later in Thailand, right? So in this, so in this tsunami, right? So there were like I don't know, it was like over 200,000, maybe 300,000 people died, right? So it's quite a big calamity. And so there was this 3-day Dharma class at Puai Temple in Thailand. And so Ksitigarbha channeled in and also brought a victim of that tsunami to this Dharma class to kind of express, the suffering that was going on there, that they had going through. Right, so then Ksitigarbha gave merciful guidance to the aggrieved soul and also to the class members. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you started off this the beautiful world. Well, this could also mean, the world of beauty, the world of, what we think of as beauty, this material world is, but wake up to its impermanence. We need to wake up to realize that this world, everything in it is impermanent. It's constantly changing. Nothing lasts forever. Okay. And it says, the Tao spirit shoots up to heaven, right? Saves and transforms in all directions. Okay. So, right now, okay. So, the world, right, it's obviously, it's constantly changing and impermanent, and eventually will be destroyed. Right? If our mundane or our stubborn mind does not die, or our attached mind does not die, then we have no choice but to be caught up endlessly in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. And therefore, we can let go of our attachments and greed as soon as possible and subdue our resentments. Then the sooner we can transcend life and death and escape from the cycle of reincarnation. Okay. So yeah, it's just Buddha is always reminding us that the world we live in is not it's not permanent. Okay, so in that sense, you can say it's not our real home. We don't belong here. Okay, we shouldn't be here forever, right? We need to know where our true home is. Okay, so now in instructing that departed soul, okay, so it says, departed soul, this world is not your permanent home. Our relation, or your relation with family and relatives, is due to karmic affinity, but the physical body is just an illusion, right? So, when we see, in life, we have, obviously we belong to a family, we have relatives, and we think that, well, this is all real, right? This is all, this is who we are, right? That kind of defines who we are, and this, especially, our physical body. But it's all an illusion, right? It's all due to, right, the 5 skandhas. We talk about the 5 skandhas. right? Because of our perception and our ignorance, then we believe what we see, we believe what our senses are telling us, and we believe everything to be true, and including, you know, this body of ours that we think, oh, this is who I am, this is where we are, okay? It says your physical body is no longer yours. So what else is there in the world to stubbornly cling to? Let it go, let it go. Do not be loath to part with affection and love. Do not linger and forget to go home. So saying that, yeah, once we die, right, we lose this body, then what, you know, we're no longer in this physical world. So why are we still clinging to this world? Or especially these people, maybe, you know, they died, you can say all of a sudden, right? It's unexpected in that calamity. And so obviously they're still, I guess they're still attached, right, to who they are, you know, their families, relatives, friends, and everything else in the world. Okay, but you know, without this physical body, you really shouldn't have that attachment. Okay, the problem is when we have this attachment, it kind of binds us there. It kind of prevents us from moving on, right? So that's why he says, you know, don't linger and forget to go home, right? So, you know, you know, obviously, you know, they, depending on what their karma, right? That, you know, they'll go to the underworld to be judged and, you know, see where they're going to go next. Okay. Now, okay, yeah. So sorry, the family relative, right? Well, you know, that's all due to past karma, past karmic affinity. Usually, family members, they continue to reincarnate within the family. You know, each generation, each generation, and so, but they might take different roles within the family. So it's kind of interesting. The world is a place to reap consequences. Okay, causes are sowed in the past life, and consequences must be reaped in this life. If the mundane heart and mind does not die, then there is no choice but to continue in a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, right? Awaken to this truth. Please go to the underworld to be judged, pay off the sin. All right, so, you know, there are a lot of spirits, like, you know, souls. They might have died all of a sudden, and you know, maybe accidentally, or you know, they got caught up in some calamity or accident, something happened, and they died, and maybe it was before their time. You know, so they kind of linger around. Okay, so that's why you hear stories of, you know, these spirits or ghosts that, you know, haunted houses or haunted places, right? So it's true, because some of those spirits are still there. But here, you know, Ksitigarbha is telling the spirit should go to the underworld to be judged. Okay, so don't just drift around, wandering around there. Right. So you know, we are in this world because of our karma, right? Now, of course, bodhisattvas, Buddhas, they make vows to come to this world. But if we're not a bodhisattva or Buddha, then most likely we come here because of our karma. Our karma forced us here. All right. So and basically, it's to reap the consequences. All right. Whether it's getting some blessings or good fortune from past good deeds, or getting retribution, karmic retribution in this life. Okay. Either way, those things force us here. Now, so, you know, but once we die, okay, so then we need to let it go. We need to let go of this world, right? Because we no longer belong in this world. Okay. So we have to, you know, understand the truth, understand the Four Noble Truths, why we create these karma, right? Create the karma in the first place, right? So we have to understand the Four Noble Truths. It starts from desire, right? Desire is the cause of suffering, ultimately, right? Okay, so it says restrain yourself, quell your resentment. Missing the opportunity of this life, many departed souls may have to wait 30 years, 60 years, 100 years, or even 200 years for the chance to receive Tao. Yeah, so it's very unfortunate if people die, then they didn't receive the Tao, then they'll who knows, because who knows how long before they can be reborn as a human. Okay, I mean, they have to be maybe punished, in suffer in hell for a while, for a long time, or even take one of the other 6 paths, right? Other paths of reincarnation, whether but a non-human path, and then so it could take who knows how long, and by then the Tao may not be available. Okay, so it says Buddha, I bless you to be reborn as a human being, to encounter the Tao, to receive the point transmission from the enlightened master, to transcend life and death and the 6 paths of reincarnation as soon as possible. Okay, so obviously Ksitigarbha wishes that the deceased can be reborn as soon as possible as a human being, so that they can then receive the Tao. Assuming that they're in the right place, where they can encounter the Tao, hear about the Tao, right, and encounter the enlightened master who can then transmit the Tao to them. Right? So that's why the Tao is very precious. Then in instructing giving instruction to the class members, it says, okay, so present workers, it's called worthies. Okay, the worthies who are there, right? It's a great blessing to listen to the Dharma, right? Worthies should know that the mortal world is not a place of permanent residence. Everything in the mortal world is illusory and impermanent, including our family and relatives, fame and wealth and power, right? And human love, affection cannot be forever. All right, so we should not have strong attachments here to the things in this world. It could be other people, or anything, okay? Because none of it lasts. Once we leave this world, that ends. Basically that you can say that affinity, that karmic affinity ended. Now, sometimes things might have ended before any kind of karma might have been resolved, and then you have to come back again to complete, have that karma resolved. But still, so what we have in this life right now, who we think we are, who we think other people are, that's all going to change in the next life. So what I have borrowed is not mine, right? When the time is up, it naturally must be returned to the universe. When the time is up, it naturally must be returned to karma, right? So basically reaping the consequences. This is a universal law. Nobody can escape it and nobody can resist, right? So what we have in this world it's all borrowed. We're just borrowing it. We're just using it for the time being, okay? So even this physical body, it's not mine, right? When I die, it doesn't exist anymore, right? And then if I'm reborn in this world, there would be completely different body, right? Can never be reborn into the same body again, right? This is a one-time thing, right? So, again, everything is based on, you can say the timing of things, things happen, and according to like our karma, so for life, there's a natural lifespan, things like that. For karma, right, there's also you can say the things that happen in previous life, right? They're going to be the consequences in this life. Okay, so that's inescapable, right? Nobody can escape this. It's a universal law, and even bodhisattvas, Buddhas are subject to this law, right? Worthies are very blessed to have a human life at this time, to encounter the great Tao and the enlightened master, to have hands and feet, able to walk and move, so basically being alive and capable, right? And able to help in the holy affairs, to accumulate merits, to fulfill vows is a very rare opportunity. Yeah, there's an idiom there. It's basically, you know, thousands of years, you know, it's that rare. Okay, it's once in 1,000 years, a few thousand years, right? So yeah, definitely we have to cherish the fact that we are humans, right? We have this human life right now, and that, well, in fact, that we have received the Tao, okay, and we can learn the Dharma, and we can practice and cultivate, right, and fulfill our vows, okay. So this is definitely, you know, it would be very sad and regrettable if, you know, people receive the Tao and then that's it, and they don't follow up, they don't continue, they don't learn, they don't study it, and they don't practice it. Then it's kind of wasted. I mean, although you could say that there's a seed that is planted in them, that in some future life, if they didn't cultivate in this life, they don't have enough merits of virtue, then, you know, they may have a chance, better chance, I guess, in a future life than those who maybe did not receive Tao. Although there's no guarantee. Okay, so we know that we are here right now, and so we should not pass up on this opportunity, because this is the golden opportunity, not to miss it. Right? Worthies must not miss this opportunity. Okay, if missed in this life, perhaps like the departed souls, you may have to wait 30 years, 60 years, 100 years, or even 200 years before you have the opportunity to receive Tao again. So again, who knows, right? Life is unpredictable. Anything can happen, especially today. You know, we see, yeah, there's you have the COVID pandemic, but you know, there's going to be something probably even worse after this. You know, who knows when, but something worse is going to come along, and you know, we're taking our chances if we don't cultivate well and perform merits and nurture our virtues. Okay, because again, if we don't complete our cultivation, we don't fulfill our vows, we don't have enough merits, then it's got to wait for the next life, and by then, who knows? Again, the chance to receive Tao, we may not get that chance. All right, worthies is more blessed to give than to receive, right? To show love and help others who benefit the most. Are you worthies willing to help these poor souls ease their suffering? Right, so that's the saying, right? We know it is more blessed to give than to receive, okay? So we should always give and not ask to get things, to get even if it's merits, okay? We shouldn't be trying to get, greedy for merits, okay? Because once we're greedy for merits, we're not going to have the true merits. Okay, so you know, we should have compassion and try to help others. And when we do, we are the ones to benefit the most. Okay, so we think that we don't realize it, you know, that we are giving to others to help others. That is actually, you might think, it's, you know, how does that benefit me? It's benefiting the other person, but actually it's benefiting us too. Okay, and probably benefiting us even more. Right? Because it is more blessed to give than to receive. All right. So we actually get the most benefit from doing that. All right. So then, you know, Ksitigarbha asks if people are willing to help those poor souls who died in the tsunami. And you know, it goes on to say, those departed souls are currently suffering from terror and fear, right? Suffering from being swallowed up by the ocean and bitten and torn apart by fishes, suffering from the reluctance to leave the world, and suffering from not letting go of the attachment to self, right? So that's very important, that we have to ultimately let go of everything. I mean, it may be easier to let go of all the things in the world except for the self, okay? So you have to ultimately let go of the self, who, you know, this me, this I, this ego, this person who I think I am, this I was in this world. That we have to let go of that attachment, right? And then in the rest of the scripture, he kind of goes on and gives specific instructions to the words about how to transfer the merits to, or how, what they should do to transfer merits to these departed souls, okay, to relieve their suffering, and give them a chance to reincarnate as human beings as soon as possible. Okay, so All right. Okay, so now this is another different scripture here. Says the world has undergone drastic changes. People's minds are not what it used to be, right? Basically, in the early days, early humans were kind and honest. I mean, they were basically in touch with their conscience, in touch with their true nature, the Buddha nature. And so, just like an infant child is very, very innocent, right? Very pure. That's how they were like, but not today. Not well. It hasn't been for a long time. People frequently commit wrongdoings, are cruel, but without a sense of humanity, right? Devoid of conscience. And many intellectuals also are strongly against the concept of karma, not believing in the universal law of justice. Right? So that's you can say science, right? Because today we are in the age of science, and science doesn't really subscribe to this idea of universal justice, universal law of justice, of karma. I mean, science understands causality, right? There's cause and effect, but they don't, because they don't know about the soul. They don't see the soul. They don't think that soul necessarily exists. So they don't, they don't believe in that karma, okay, with the soul. All right, so this type of view and thinking is devastating for the world. Okay, people brazenly commit evil deeds because they do not believe in karma, right? And because more and more people do not believe it, the troubles of the world become more complex. Yeah, as more people see karma, understanding karma, the cause and effect, and karma is very important. I mean, that can kind of, if people really believe it, right, then they will be more careful about, and they will think twice about doing something, evil or sinful that create that karma, okay? Because they know that there's that consequence, whether in this life or afterlife or next life, right? So, but because, when too many people don't believe this, then they'll just do anything, right? They'll just do anything to satisfy their heart's content, right? Satisfy their desires, etc., or their passions, all right? So that's why the world is kind of getting more messed up. The more people do not believe, the worse things will get. Therefore, all worthies must believe in karma, that good deeds result in blessings, evil deeds bring retribution. Never harbor any bad or negative thoughts, okay? Because, again, everything starts in our mind, right? The person who commits evil, commits the sin, right? It didn't just happen. It started in their mind, right? They thought about it. Maybe they were taught or exposed to these various things that are you can say unsavory or evil, and it kind of they started believing it or liking it or whatever. They start developing desires, etc., having thoughts about it, and then they eventually commit that act of evil. And so therefore, we have to be careful what is in our mind, our mindset, our thoughts, okay? Because if we aren't aware, then gradually these things, it builds up, okay? It starts building up. These thoughts start building up in our mind, and you can say it becomes like a habit, and it's there, and it's hard to get rid of, and it will eventually drive us to do what we're not supposed to do, okay? Also saying that believe that hell exists, right? The torture and suffering in hell is difficult to imagine. It is a dark and horrible place. Wish all you worthies never go there. All right, so hopefully, we don't commit any serious sins in karma that, like the killings. Well, those, what we talked about earlier, those are like the worst, right? Those, it goes to Vici hell. But other minor things, lesser karmas, if you will still end up, that's why there's so many hells, right? To punish for all sorts of things. So we have to be very careful. That's why we have to cultivate, right? We have to learn, study the Dharma, practice, you have to cultivate and practice the disciplines, right? Follow the rules and regulations, right? Then we also need to perform merits, okay, to then offset some of these karmas that we already have. Right, so who's the most pitiful? Right, the ignorant people who do not know how terrible hell is and continue to commit evil. Almost every day there are killings, robberies, selling drugs, sexual misconduct, and scams, or basically cheating on people, causing so many calamities. Right, this is due to ever-changing or the moral decline of the human heart. Okay, so yeah, we've already been this human history since. Basically since the green era, okay, so that's many thousands of years ago, since the start of the transmission of Tao, the lineage of Tao in the human world, people have been creating karma, okay, and the human heart has been in decline. The morality has been in decline ever since then, unfortunately, and so. All these things that are happening in the world, yes, it's very unfortunate, but it's only getting worse. Okay, so that's what supposedly the religions are supposed to teach people to change their ways, become good, but unfortunately, religions have kind of lost their their authority, their effect. Right, they're no longer as effective because you can say scandals and all those things that happen in religions, right? And because again, some of the religious leaders are kind of deviated from the truth, right, from the true path, right? So, but the Tao, this heavenly Tao is here to try to save people, those who can be saved, anyways, right? Although life is difficult, we can transform the suffering into joy. Okay? It is difficult to avoid trials in life, but after the bitter comes the sweet, right? So everything goes through, or say there's a light at the end of the tunnel or whatever. There's always, sometimes it's unavoidable that we go through these hardships and difficulties, okay, or suffering. But we just look forward to the end of that, and things will be better. Right? Everybody has 60,000 years of karma that must be repaid with true cultivation and practice, true merit and virtue. Right, so we've been here for roughly 60,000 years in this cycle, and so who knows how many lifetimes we've had in this during these 60,000 years, and we've probably accumulated lots of karma, bad karma. So we have to do our best to cultivate, practice to be able to repay that those karmic debts. Okay. The hells are full. Some sinful beings want to receive Tao, but their sin is too severe. Okay, life is short, so we must create an afterlife, an eternal life of wisdom. Right, so not this human physical life. It is impermanent. But what's this eternal life of wisdom that's the true life, right? That's the eternal life. That's beyond this world. Okay, so basically transcending life and death. Right? Real suffering does not come from the environment, right? But from the endless cycle of reincarnation. Right? So that's really what suffering is. It's not the suffering from getting sick or something bad happened to me. I mean, those are minor, right? Compared to this endless cycle of reincarnation. Just think about how bad life can be right now, but think about repeating that for endless cycle. Right, so that's even worse. So that's the real true suffering. Now, real happiness does not come from wealth or anything in this material world, but from the ability to transcend life and death, to transcend this cycle. Okay, so that's how we can gain real true happiness, right? Not in this world, not attached to these material things, this mundane life. So. What is the most respectable flower in the world? It is the very pure lotus. Right? Although it grows out of the mud, it can demonstrate beauty. Right? So the lotus, the roots are in the mud at the bottom of the pond, and it grows, and the leaves are at the surface, and the flower, and it is a beautiful flower on top of the water. Okay, right. Wish all worthies can learn the spirit of a lotus. Right? Having received Tao, one must live a beautiful life, aspire to establish merit and virtue, and most importantly, learn to be a vegetarian. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we are kind of like the lotus, because we live in this world, this this is the muck, the mud of this world, with all the ugly stuff in this world, the dirty stuff in this world. But we can be pure. We can also be pure like the lotus, right? So we have to go be above what the common people, what everyone does, right? So we have to basically follow our conscience, right? Follow our true nature, our Buddha nature, right? And get rid of our attachments, our desires, our bad temper, and bad habits. Okay. And okay, so and also, so Ksitigarbha says, we should learn to be very important that we become vegetarian too, right? Because so says, as mentioned before, the ignorant people are most pitiful. We were ignorant before we received Tao. We ate a lot of animal flesh, meat, and didn't know that it created a lot of karma. Now that we know, we should not harm or kill animals, because we all have, animals and humans all have the same true nature, same essence. And therefore, we should learn to become vegetarian and not give in to our desire and appetite for meat. All right, so we can't force anyone. Everyone has to choose. And hopefully you choose the right thing. Okay, you choose to do the right thing. You choose. So that's why understanding helps you make that right choice. Then definitely, try to understand why this is. Okay. Okay, that was that scripture. All right. So finally, finish with this scripture, which is actually a song. Okay, says emotions stir, causing steps on the 6 paths of reincarnation to become heavier, right? Because our emotions, we should definitely avoid, right? The 7 emotions, like joy, anger, sorrow, happiness, love, evil, malice, I guess you'd say, and lust or desire. Okay, so don't get too emotional. Don't act on emotion when we do things. So a lot of times crimes or killings happen because of they're emotional, right? And they in a rage. Okay, so definitely emotions can make things worse for us. In this continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Right? When we leave this world, we should be calm. We should let things go, right? Especially, not just the things of this world and this body, but our emotions, our emotional state of mind. Okay, we have to let those go. Don't have strong emotions when we leave this world, or that will just cause us to be carried over to our next life, and will cause us to come back. Right? Thoughts, our mood and feeling, they surge, causing suffering of sharp pain in the heart. Okay, again, we have to be careful of what's in our mind, heart and mind. Who will accompany us, right? Reincarnation separates us on different paths. Again, so, this life, we have, we have our family, relatives, friends, others, but after we die and we are reborn, all that changes, okay? So everyone goes on their different path. Flustered because of heavy sins leads to being lonely and empty. Okay, so again, what the sins, that karma that we create will just lead us to be lonely and empty. I mean, we won't have achieved anything, okay, and we will be suffering perhaps in the underworld, in hell, okay. Or in the next life, suffering, whether it's in maybe one of the evil paths, like being an animal or a ghost, a hungry ghost, right? Life and death hurry along, the soul is covered in dust. Okay, so life after life just continues in this endless cycle, and you just have all this dust, the filth or the covering us up, right? If one encounters Tao, do recall the oath or vow made in heaven, right? So, just when we receive the Tao, it's like to say that, we are basically, I guess, remaking those vows that we already made in heaven. Okay, so we didn't realize that we'd forgotten. Hard work without complaint, and especially humility, right, can bring an end to drifting in the 6 paths of reincarnation. Okay, so definitely we have to work hard to cultivate, to kind of break out of the cycle, right, and not complain, right? Sometimes we even if we are practicing, cultivating, but we are complaining about stuff, then that's not good. Okay, and we also need to be very humble, right? And that's the way to kind of bring an end to this cycle. Right? Wishing for the underworld to be empty, extinguish the fire of injustice, release the indifference, and melt the ice. Okay, so yeah, so we need to. So obviously, Ksitigarbha and all Buddhas wish that the hell there is no one, no beings in hell suffering. That means, of course, then that they would be hopefully enlightened. But obviously today that's probably not the case. The hells are pretty full, and we have to kind of break through that. Okay. The current situation is disconcerting. Sights and sounds or forms are impermanent, like a dream. Okay, and the world in ruins, ashes disappear, leaving no trace. Yeah, when this world is destroyed at the end of the cycle, things are destroyed. There's nothing left. Right? With kind-hearted nature, respect the holy teacher, and follow the Tao aspiration to create the world of great harmony. So that is, kind of the purpose of Tao. What we're trying to achieve. This world of peace and harmony, okay, through the Tao, through Tao cultivation. To save the world, one must act personally, using compassion and dedication, or sincerity, to include all or to tolerate. And cultivators can understand. Okay, so this is basically we have to act, right? It's not, we can't depend on others. Cultivation is one's personal business, right? Nobody can force us to cultivate. Nobody can cultivate for us. Only we can do that ourselves. So we must do it, okay? We must do it. We can't, try to say, oh yeah, maybe I'll let my children or my parents cultivate and achieve for me, and then, they can pass merits to me. That's not enough, okay? So we definitely have to do it ourselves. Right, so okay, that's all right. So that's it. This is so Ksitigarbha is it's a Maha Bodhisattva. It's a great Bodhisattva, or it's actually really a Buddha now. Even though he vowed not to become a Buddha until the hells are empty, but the hells are not empty, obviously. But he is a Buddha, okay? Because it's really that, what he's been doing, even though he's been doing it for eons, right? And that is because he's been doing it for eons, nonstop, and not giving up, never giving up on these sentient beings that are there. That's why he's actually a Buddha, right? So, okay, that's it. If I had said anything wrong or unsatisfactory, I ask the Buddhas, and especially Ksitigarbha Buddha, for forgiveness, and also ask transmitting masters and lecturers for their corrections. And finally, I want to transfer these merits from this class to the global collective karma to hopefully mitigate that and try to make the world a better place. All right, thank you.